Good. Good morning, my beautiful people. I've come once again to talk to us about some important spiritual matters, because I would like us to really understand where we are. Because when we talk about where we are, it's not about the place you are staying. It's not about the place you are standing. Because you find out that what happens in Sokoto can also happen in South Africa, or can also happen in Saudi Arabia, can also happen in California. So it's not about the location, but it is about the time and season that you are in. So that is what propels what happens in your life. So let us be conscious of that. So that is why I'm going to talk about season and time. Because like I said, if you don't understand the spiritual foundation of life, you will not be able to grab life as it is. Life will always slip out of your hand. So today, I'm going to tell you about the implications of certain things that you do. You see, your problem at times is not looking for somebody to pray for you or looking for spiritual solutions and things like that. Is if you can conduct yourself very well, there are certain things you ought not to do, because when you do them, they will affect your spiritual life. You understand what I'm saying? They will affect your spiritual life. So I'm going to go right. I'm going to dive into it. Now, first of all, there is something they tell you. They tell you about being loyal. Now, being loyal. Okay. You ask yourself question. Your loyalty is to who? Your loyalty is to who? Or is to what? Okay, if you're loyal to a cause, that you yourself, you are part of those who are championing that cause, it is fine and good. I have no problem with that. But when you are loyal to a friendship, to a love movement, or to an understanding that exists between you and a person or a group of people, it is fine. There is nothing wrong with it. But when you are loyal, you submit to your fellow human being. You first of all, you have taken yourself from the God statue that you are in. You are no longer one, because what gods do, they negotiate, they sit at round tables, they talk. Now remember that you are practically a God, because there is a spirit that is dwelling in you. So what you're doing is that by submitting to another, you are submitting your spirit. That means you are submitting your destiny, because your spirit is your destiny. It is your spirit that knows your destination. Now, when you submit to that order, spirit, you have submitted your spirit, and your destination and the destination of where you have submitted may not tally. So you are going to have a lot of problem in life. You see, most of the problems that surround us or that manifest in our journey are the ones that we create ourselves by our carelessness. Maybe we are trying to impress people. We are concerned about what others will say, and that is why we totally or consciously, reduce ourselves, and then terminate our own destination by submitting to certain things that we are not supposed to submit to. So many of us are having problem. That is the problem with Africa today. That is the problem of the Igbo people today. No, you think it's life, because when you do it, you'll be appalled. People will praise you. People will admire you. People will encourage you. Now they are encouraging you to throw away your life. I've said it before. If you don't understand this, you will not understand anything at all. Fine, we are a community. It is understandable. But ask yourself one question: what is this community for? What is it? Why is this community created? Now, the purpose is not just to create a community. The purpose is that individually we are all independently created with independent destinies. With independent destinies. We are independently created with independent destinies. With independent destinies. And you need to understand that, because if you do not, you will have problem excelling in life. We are all created with independent destinies. Now, nobody is going to tell you how to propel or fulfill your own destiny, because the destiny you are pursuing is only your inner man, your spirit being, that understands this destiny that which you are called and which you yourself, which you are pursuing. And the only thing that can drive you towards that destiny is the understanding that your spirit man has about that particular destiny. You understand? So we are all created. We are all created for a particular destiny. Your destiny is unique. It is your destiny. Mine is unique. It is my destiny. But somewhere along the line, just like maybe as we're having this program, somewhere along the line, we will see that our destinies are going to meet, either for good or for challenges, but it will meet. Now, the question you ask yourself is this: when your destiny meets with mine, what do you do? How does it help you propel your destination? How does it help you get to your destination? Because the purpose of you coming to meet me is not for you to go back, or it's not for you to abandon your destination. It is for you to understand how I will be of help for you to how my own will help you to be able to push forward towards where you are going to, and how yours will help me to be able to push forward towards where I'm going to. These are the things that we take for granted. That is why a lot of people take money and they render their life useless. They end up becoming useless. They end up not fulfilling and then maximizing their own potentials. Now, it is not wrong for us to work with others. It's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that remember that you are a king in your own life. You are the ruler of your own life. You are in charge and in control of your own life. Now, whatever you give into, you become a slave to that. Even when you read certain books, especially the Bible, it tells you that whatever you submit to, it becomes a master to you. If you submit to money, money becomes your master. If you submit to sex, sex becomes your master. So also, if you submit to a person, that person automatically becomes your master. But normally, what you are supposed to submit to is your chi, the spirit of the creator that lives in you, the one that doeth in you, the one that drives you, the one that leads you. That is what you are supposed to submit to. That is the bidding that you are supposed to dance to with all total submission, with all loyalty. That is what you are supposed to submit to. Now, but we see that because of the attraction of material things, because of what we perceive in the material world, what do? We tend to silence that spirit and follow what we term to be the norms of the day. Now, have you ever asked yourself, what if you were created to change that ideology, to change that norm? What if you are created to live a life that will attract others to another aspect of life which they have not been able to see, but you joined the queue, you followed that system that has eaten deep into the heart of many, that have destroyed so many lives, and you are still following the system, and you are asking yourself, why is it that things are not moving or things are not changing, when you yourself, you are supposed to be the one that will breed the change? Now, let me tell you something about change. It's not going to be easy. You may be hated, you may be disliked, you may be at times queried or questioned. So many people will question your capacity to deliver. Some will question your integrity. Some will question your genuity. Some will question your intentions. They will question a lot of things about you. So it tends to look a little frustrated. But the fact is that if you are strong and if you are persistent, if you are devoted to what you do, and if you are committed with passion to what you've been called to do, to what you are supposed to be doing, you will see yourself excelling. You will see yourself being that thing that you are created to be. And that is what success is all about. It's not about how many people that are applauding you. It's not about how many people that are crediting you, or how many people that are enjoying or following you or encouraging you. That is why you should learn how to encourage yourself. Stand for what is right. They may hate you, they may not like you. If you look at people who have made it alive, most of the people we are talking about them today, at their own time, they were hated. They were disliked by many. But later, posterity, time has justified them and placed them, on the lips of almost all, that these people in their own time did great and mighty things. Why? The people of their time did not, what they were doing then was not comfortable to those that came around them. So they saw it as something that was against the norms. But later, those who are coming behind, the generation that is yet to come, will come and then see the impact of, because nature cannot give you a destiny that will not help propel the well-being of the entire nature. Whatever you've been given to, whatever your destiny is because that destiny is going to make a very great positive impact on the whole, on a larger picture, as far as nature is concerned. But you are not fulfilling it, or you're not living up to it, is going to be detrimental. That is the point. That is the whole point. That is why the biggest sin. The biggest sin, no matter, it doesn't care the religion you belong to. The biggest sin on this surface, on this planet Earth, is when a man lives all his life. Though it doesn't matter how much money you make, it doesn't matter how you enjoy or cruise your life. Is if you live all your life on Earth and never fulfill your destiny, you are a sinner. And if there is anything, although I don't believe in hell, if there is anything like hell, you will end up in hell. It does not matter the kind of life you live, whether you live the life you never stole, you never this. No, no. What is expected of you is to fulfill that destiny, that your creator given destiny, that thing that creator has put in your hand. That is what makes you, that is what makes you an achiever. That is what makes you successful. But if you live all your life and you never fulfilled it, you are a sinner. You have found wanted. So the question you ask yourself is this: it's not about how much you're making. Am I really at the path to my destiny? Am I what I'm doing? Is it what I'm supposed to be doing? Because each and every one of us is God, and we are given something to do, and that is the reason why you are here on it. I've said it, you are not just an additional number. It baffles me for people to see and count themselves as just another number here on earth. No, you are not here to build good houses, buy fancy cars, ride the best planes. These things are materials provided for you to help you to facilitate what you are doing, to help you get to that destiny fast, to help you achieve that fast. I'm not saying there is nothing wrong in having a fine house. There's nothing wrong in having a big car, but that is not where it should. It's not supposed to end there. It's not supposed to end there. These are stepping stones that will help you climb to that place of destination, that will help you sojourn in that part of destiny. That is why they are provided for you at the first place. All those materials, because you need resources to do what you are called to do. So he gives you these resources, and also he surrounds you with also human resources, because no man is an island. What you are about to do, what you are called to do, is something that is deep, something that is great. So nobody is an island. So you are called to fulfill your destiny in a way that it will have a positive impact on the world in general. So that is why we should be careful of what we've chosen, because if it's not making that impact, if it's something that will bring destruction, then it is not your destiny. If it's something that will cause harm, if it's something that will damage the life and kill a lot of people or take life, it is not then your destiny. So you ask yourself, what is your destiny? Your destiny is something that is a platform that will allow you to make your own contribution here on earth. It's not about you. It's about what you will do for others. But then at the same time too, it will work for you. So it's not about you doing to others. At the same time, it will work for you, but it is anchored on what you will do for us others, what you are going to sacrifice to make the life of others better, more especially the life of those coming behind, the generation that is about to come, those that are behind us. That is why we are sent ahead to prepare the ground for them. So what you are doing now, ask yourself, how is it going to benefit the coming generation? You see, we see people, they enter into certain offices, they just want to destroy what has been entrusted in their hand. So to them, that is an opportunity for them to make a living. But time will judge them. Posterity will judge them. You see people, they betray others. You know what their own game is? Anyhow, I want to survive. That is their game. That is their slogan. That is what they say in their mind and in their spirit. So their own is that they want to survive. So they don't care who they stamp up, who they march upon. They don't care who they betray. They don't care who they hurt. They just want to survive. Now, is that your destiny? It's not your destiny. Your destiny cannot be that. Destiny is what helps prepare the ground for those who are coming. That what it has to be on the positive side. If it's not, it is not your destiny. Now, I want to tell you something. There is something that is called the law of reverse, the reverse law. Now, something might be programmed for good, but If you apply a negative energy to it, it brings a it brings a bad result. That means you've reversed the cause. Like many people will see that some of the movements, especially when it comes to movements that people are tired of the system, especially in a particular area, they start a movement. The movement, the intention, the purpose, or those that started it will be for good, for good intentions, for good purpose. But the moment you see some bad elements, once they come into the circle and then hijack that particular movement, they will begin to use it for personal things. And then you see that the movement that started good will now end bad. Many of them have ended like that. For example, if you talk about the Italian mafia, now if you look at the history of the mafia, you will understand that the mafia at the time were people who were created because of the circumstances that the Italians find themselves. And these people were judging cases, and they were just at the early stage. But the moment the bad ones hijacked it, it now becomes a process where people are being intimidated, people are being killed, lives are being taken. They now take over the whole entire Sicily. And they begin to, till date, it now becomes a definition of organized crime. Now it's being used to define organized crime. But initially, those that started the system started it because there were injustice and they really wanted to have something that will encounter, the ruling class, and then that will be able to decide the fate of the masses without compromising. And it was working, but immediately it was polluted, contaminated. Then they began to use it for a dirty purpose. So also every other system that was created in different places, the intentions, the intentions usually are good intentions, but because of the nature of man, that man, if the spirit is wrongly prepared, tends to be selfish and greedy. That man tend to have this notion of being on top, being the one that called the shot because of his selfishness and ego. Now, but the thing is that when you prepare or propel your spirit at the right with the right energy, with the right intentions, you will be able to overcome that because everybody has this trace of 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 um, let me use the word greed. Everybody have this trace of being the one that decides what others will do, being the one that will control the rest. So everybody has this tendency, this thing in him. But those that really live a life of that really humble themselves, a life of humility, are those that are able to control this thing, to suppress it. It is all in us. And now remember that what you give to your spirit is what your spirit releases at the end of the day. Nobody is born a demon. People develop themselves and makes themselves demons. Nobody is born a righteous person or a good person. It is you that decides to be righteous. It's you that take the decision. It depends on the decision you've taken in life. It depends on that path which you want to follow. So everything is according to what we decide. According to what we decide. So there is nothing, it's not like it's going to come from a foreign place. It's not like it's going to come from another angle. It is all coming from within us. And that is why I said something the other day. I said there is a powerful character that was developed when the people who were composing and compiling the book they call the Bible, they developed a powerful character of which the whole story of the Bible was centered upon. The character is the character Jesus. Now, when he was asked that people were concerned about what he was preaching, because he came and he was, according to the whole story, he was telling them about the kingdom of God. And before he came, 6 months period to that time, according to the story they told, there was another person, another character they created, John the Baptist, that was also talking about this kingdom. So people were concerned about this kingdom, according to the story. And they now asked him, it pushed them to a level to ask him, this particular kingdom you've been talking about, where is it exactly? You understand? But to really put them through and make them understand where he was going to, he said to them, the kingdom is not by observation. It's not something you see physically, but it is something you develop from within you. He said it is within you. It is within you. The way you see the world, the way you see life is the way life becomes. It is what becomes of life in your life. So if you cannot see life as a place of negativity and then you expect to reap positivity, it doesn't work that way. The way you see life is what life becomes at the end of the day, because it is you that will propel it. It is your spirit that will define it, and then it comes to physical manifestation. Now, like I said in some of my videos, remember that before this physical life was created, there was already an existing life, but it was in the spirit realm. So what they did was to bring what is in the spirit, bring it back, bring it out, and bring it into the physical. And that is why we were able to have a glimpse of what actually happened, transpired in the spiritual realm before the physical earth and the physical sun, before the physical universe was created. Before then, the life was also existing, but in the spiritual realm. But it happened that there were certain elements that were put in place so that that thing that was in the spiritual realm can also be brought in the physical realm. That is why the life people live here on earth is temporary. It's temporary because the main life is in the spiritual realm. And that is why no matter how short it is, yeah, the spirit never dies. The flesh they may die, but the spirit will not die, because the spirit goes back. It goes back to where it is or where it came from. So, but the questions, because if you are going to be asked to make an account, you are not going to give account here on earth. Nobody has ever been called or summoned here on earth and they ask you, how did you live your life on earth? Because for them to ask you how you lived your life on earth, you have to die first. They will know that your journey on earth has finished. So before that, they not ask you, how did you live your life on earth? You can't still be alive and you are being asked how you live your life, because you may give them the story now and then tomorrow you will do something else. So how would they include that? So it's only when you die that that question can come up. And they're not going to ask the flesh, they are going to ask the spirit. So whatever is being done, if there is any account that one is going to give, if actually that one will give an account, it has to be in the spirit world, not in the physical world. And that is why people should understand how important it is for us to know how to relate to issues, especially when it comes to issues of the spirit. Now, but we have a problem here. We have a problem here. That is why many of us are lost. We have a problem here because religion has given us the religious mindset. Religious has taken away our proper reasoning when it comes to spiritual matters. So we all think religion. We all see things from the perspective of religion. We all see things religiously. For example, let me give you an instance of what I mean. Now, there is a belief that people normally believe, especially with those of them that are in the Abrahamic religion. You know, when I say Abrahamic religion, we know that there used to be three types, but I think it's multiplying each day. It's multiplying in days. Abrahamic religion is those that believe that they are descendants of Abraham, and somehow they tend to relate their religion to a character called Abraham that you can find in the Bible and in the Torah and also in the Quran. Now, what is their own take? Each time their religion is always talking about a Messiah. Go and check. Those who are in Judaism are waiting for the Messiah, whom they claim have never come. The Christians have already witnessed the presence of the Messiah, for which they built their own concept of faith, which is who they refer as Jesus Christ, or whether you call it Jesus or you call it Yeshua or Yahashua, they are all the same. Now, the Muslims, I accept the fact that yes, the Messiah has come, but they refer to him as Isa, but that he is not a Messiah, he was a teacher. Then the teacher that promised people that he's going to bring a comforter, and the comforter came in the person of Muhammad. You see, so but all the same, they all tend to believe that they are driving towards the same point. So these ones feel that they are better than this ones. These ones feel that they are better than these ones. Now, to shock them with their faith and with their belief, Abrahamic story or claim was copied from the Egyptian methodology. In fact, most of the things that were written in the Torah and in the Bible were things that were borrowed directly from the book of the dead. Now, it will pain somebody who is a Christian or somebody who is a Muslim or a Jewish person to discover that what was given to them and was that they were told that these are the words of God, their God, is actually something that was copied from somewhere else. Now, if you still go back to the Egyptians and you ask them to define the book of dead, they will still tell you that the book of dead is the book of divinity. I am not contesting all these things, but I want us to understand the difference between religion and the difference between spirituality. Now, what is spirituality? Spirituality is something that brings you close to nature, something that gives you access to this to the spirit world while you are still alive, something that allows you to understand who you are. It does not reduce your thinking. It does not give you false understanding of life. It opens your eyes and mind and gives you true understanding of life. But at the end of the day, is it what religion is teaching? No. Religion is telling them to submit themselves to a certain faith. And is asking them not to bother discovering who they are. That the moment you submit to certain belief or faith, your case is settled. So your spirit mind, man, or your mind have nothing to do. All you need to do is to believe, totally trust in this particular story. And then you will see yourself excelling, moving on to the next level. This is what religion teaches. And people buy into that. And then they keep wondering, why is it that things are not really moving for us? Because they themselves, at the time, they get frustrated. At the time, they have questions to ask, but because you've been told that in certain areas you don't ask questions, especially to the God that the Abrahamic faiths are prophesying, you don't ask that God question. He's a God that you don't ask questions. The Islamic notion is that you don't ask Allah question. You don't question Allah. Judaism tells you don't question Yahweh. Christianity tells you don't question God. He alone knows what he's doing. Even when you are going contrary to your destiny, when you are being frustrated, when you have challenges that you don't understand them, you still cannot ask that God question. But that is not what spirituality preaches. Spirituality allows you to understand that there is a piece, a big piece of that God, that creator in you, that you have to connect with the whole concept of creation for you to be able to discover your destiny. So through the peace that is in you, you ask questions. You bring out questions, you bring forth questions. You need to ask questions. You need to ask direction, because it is only in the spirit realm that you'll be able to understand where you are going to. So telling you not to ask questions means that I'm trying to block your understanding of how to navigate. This earth we are in is a journey, and it's not a physical journey, it's a spiritual journey. That is what they have not understood. It is a spiritual journey, not a physical one. That you're using a physical body to convert yourself through does not mean that it's a physical journey. It is a spiritual journey. So that is why we all must die. Whether you like it or not, at one time or the other. What you should be concerned about is how and when and where it will happen. We all would die. Because the journey continues. It's a spiritual one. It's not a physical one. So there is no way you can end in this physical realm. It is a spiritual journey. But we have misunderstood the whole thing because of what we bought from religious table. We have misunderstood the whole point. That is why people are still hoping for another heaven, where their physical enjoyment will continue, where their physical life will continue. The Muslims are talking about, how can you, a spirit, be thinking of having 72 virgins? How will you sleep with them? You see, you have this mindset. You are going to your so-called heaven to go and have sex. You are there are a lot of things you ask yourself, because you don't understand that the journey you are in, it does not matter how you look at it, it's a spiritual journey, not a physical one. That is why we get violent. That is why we use so many means that are improper to see if we can achieve our aim, because we don't understand why we are here. We don't even know that we are in a spiritual journey, that the journey is not a physical one. So you look at so many things happening. You need to ask yourself questions. Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Many of us have lived our whole life wasted, even though it looks to us as if we are progressive. Some of us are millionaires, but we are living a wasted life because we are not fulfilling destiny. You did not come here. Let me tell you something. You didn't come here to make money. You didn't come here, but you may have the money and it becomes a material or a source or a resources that will help you propel what you came to do. You must discover why you are here. It is bigger than that money that you think you have. It is greater than that money. You cannot come. You are not created on earth for yourself alone. You are not created on earth. You are created for something that is bigger than you. Something that is much more greater than what you are doing at this particular moment. And that is why it is important for us to have this spiritual understanding. So when you submit to certain things, you become a slave to those things. And a slave has no mind of his own. A slave has no mind of her own. A slave cannot decide for herself or for himself. You do exactly what you are asked to do. You follow where you are asked to follow. So the issue is not how well you are doing. The question should be, each time we ask ourselves, is the direction I'm heading to, is it the right direction? Will this direction bring me to my destination? Because destiny is destination. Forget about the name. When they say destiny, they are talking about your destination. Destiny is destination. Your destiny is destination. You cannot be going to flying to US from Germany and you end up in Turkey. That means you must have somehow your compass is wrong. It's heading towards the direction. You cannot be flying to Turkey and you end up in US. Somehow your compass is wrong as well too. So let us understand that. That is the issue. So if you take up from Europe or from America and you're heading towards Africa, you must be sure that your direction is towards Africa. Because if not, you will not get to Africa. So we all have this problem. So at times we think that success is when we have made a lot of money, or when we have made fame, when we are popular, or when we have the best things in life. That is not success. Fine, you so far you are doing well because you are acquiring the material, the resources that you need to propel your destiny, to get to your destiny, because we all need resources. There are certain things that are needful, there are certain things that are useful. Whether you like it or not, there are certain things you will need, especially in this journey of life. That is why we have flesh. That is why we are in a physical world. There are so many things that makes it a little easier. But at times, let me shock you. Let me shock you. I'm not praying. It's not like I'm trying to tell us that at times, the greatest helper or the greatest teacher at times usually is hardship. Many of you will not agree to what I'm saying. The greatest teacher at times that opens your eyes to certain things. At times when you have plenty, you will not be able to reason properly. You will not be able to discover yourself. Many people have discovered because they say necessity is the mother of invention. Many people have been able to discover their life and their talent at the age of frustration. When they cannot take it again, when they are about to give up to life, when they are about to kill themselves, at that particular point, it strikes on them, and then that is when they realize that there is more to life to that which they themselves have presented. And then you see them take a new turn, and then you see them come up with why they are here. There are so many people that have succeeded at that age when they are about to give up on life. I'm not just talking about being forced. I'm talking about somebody that have waking up to take his life or her life, and then he realizes that this is an opportunity for me to make it to turn it around again, and they step into it, and then everything turns around, and then you see them come out with that which nature has put in them. There is nobody. It does not matter how you look at the person. There is nobody that is not gifted. Now, especially most of us who are actually from the African descent, There is a lot of potential in us. Because this physical world, I want to tell you something. This physical world is a world that is owned and controlled by the earth and the sun. And these two strong elements are things that we as a people, especially we, the Africans, can comfortably relate to spiritually and physically. We can relate to them spiritually and physically. It is they are all connected to us, to our life, spiritual life and our physical life. So that means we are as well, the earth as well belongs to us. Now it is a sin that at the end of the day we are not the major players in our own continent, in our own space. We are just mere observers. The highest we can do is to the only participation we do is to accept whatever that is dished out for us. Now that has to stop because we are not fulfilling our own destiny. Nature did not bring us, give birth to us for us to come and be followers of any nonsense that is introduced to us. Nature gave birth to us for us to come and be initiators, for us to come and be those that will set the pace. Because a man, if you go to a man's house, it is his children that decide what happens in their father's house. It doesn't matter whether their father is there or not, because it is their father's house, and that is the only way they feel comfortable. That is their space. That is where they play comfortably. This space belongs to us, and we've allowed ourselves to be pushed, moved. We've sold out our right because of complex, because we were taught from the beginning that it never belonged to us. We were taught from the beginning that we need to submit. And that is why if you come to many of our cultures, our people want to ride upon us because they themselves are being influenced by the negative influence of those that invaded us. So they think that what makes you great is when others are worshiping you. But you forget that what makes a leader is not when he has many followers. A great leader is one that has raised other leaders. People that can sit with him or her at the same table and reason like human beings. Those that can tell him that, no, this thing you are doing, I think if we do it this way, it will be better. And he looks at their opinion and he says, yes, I think you've made a point. That is what qualifies a great leader. Not a one that will say something and everybody will say, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It doesn't make you a leader. When everybody following you is as useful as useless, as the contribution is 0.000, you are not a leader. A leader is one that have raised leaders, people who can iron issues with you, who can really challenge your opinion and then challenge it intelligently, reasonably, and then you sit down and then, because no man is an island. So, but because of the influence or the mentality of those that actually conquered us and ruled over us and educated us in their own education way, we tend to see life as a platform of competition. And then everybody wants to be the head. We want to be the one that will say, and when you say it, and our people are doing it, we are doing it over excess. He doesn't want you to say anything at all. Just accept what I have said because I have thought it in my mind and I feel it is good. And because it is good, everybody have to agree with it, whether you like it or not. And that is the major problem that we're having. And that is why we cannot move forward. Now, this brings me to a tribe that is, we always talk about the Igbo tribe. Now, if you look at these people, there is something special about them. What is special about them? In the whole world, forget about what is happening of recent. What started happening after the invention of the white man. In the whole right world, the Igbo tribe is the only people that have a different system of governance. They have community, a large community, a community of 60, now over 60 million people, about 70 million people, right? Now, but they have this thing, they have this system that baffled even the Europeans when they came. Call it. They have this system. What is the system? It's a community where there is no single head. There is no just one ruler. There is no single head. They are divided in communities. They are divided in kingdoms, but there are no kings. Everybody is a king. That is the first place the European came across a place where you see citizens. They know that was when they understood what it meant to be a citizen at the first place. That where you will meet that everybody in a complete in a common empire, everybody is a citizen, nobody is a subject. Throughout the whole world, people were subjects because there were kings that were ruling over all the people, all of the people of the world. So they were subjects. But when you come to the Igbo community, they are all citizens. Nobody is a subject because there is no king. And they were well organized, well arranged. There was no police, there was no army, there was no prison. But yet there was law and order. The environment was clean. The people know how to tidy. You at the day of cleaning, everybody will come out and they will clean together. I'm not talking about 20 people or 30 people. I'm talking about millions of people living in this kind of condition. Everybody knows this boundary. You know what to do and what not to do. You know that you're not supposed to cross your boundary. So this thing baffled them. They saw it as it was a magical life. That was when they got the idea of telling you a place called heaven. Because when they entered, they saw that in this particular empire, in the whole of the communities, because they visited several communities, several kingdoms in the same empire, they discovered that you cannot see a beggar. There was no beggar. Even those who were disabled were living good lives. There was no beggar. People were well fed. There was no shortage of food. There was enough food. They saw these things, they baffled them. And they decided to destroy that which these people have built. So when they start telling you about heaven, they're not telling you something that never existed. They are telling you something that they witnessed when they came to this empire called the Igbo Empire. So when we talk about the Igbo Empire, we are talking about that is the heaven they told you about, where there was no law, but people were living in an orderly manner. I'm talking about before the slave trade came. If you are a bad person, the whole empire will gather together and they will send you out of the empire. They will tell you to go and form your own kingdom. That was how many people left and went and developed in other parts of Africa because they told them to leave. They pushed them out. Excuse me. Because they didn't want to be contaminated with bad influences or bad characters. So once you begin to exhibit anything that is bad, they will just tell you to leave. And this was how these people lived. You see, although we know that there is so many conspiracies to tumble and to cover the life of these people, and so many foreign identities has been imposed on us, not just by foreigners alone, but by our own uh, uh, fortunate, so to say, fortunate kings, those that were crowned kings by the Europeans to destroy the system that was set by our white and intelligent ancestors. So the system was corrupted when the Europeans came and they imposed on us these so-called southern kings. So they gave to every community a warrant chief, and from that warrant chief they developed them as kings, and then today now they are royal families. I am not against the royal issue, but if the Igbos have to go back to how it is, which was the best life any kingdom or any people can dream of, because there was nothing like subject. Everybody was a citizen. Everybody was a citizen. People were respected by what they can achieve, by what their brain can offer. The contribution, the impact, the positive contribution they are making in the society. That is how you will be recognized. That is when you will be respected. When they see your impact, how many people that has been saved, how many people that have been directed well, how many people that has been groomed and trained by you, how many people you fed. This is how they know if you're rich or not. It's not because you have money. If you have money, you have it. It's for your house and you yourself and your household. But when you begin to distribute that which you have to those who are outside your house, you are being recognized. You are being appreciated. But they will also want to know the source of your income, because integrity, honesty And righteousness is also important in this community. That was why there was nothing like stealing. You open your door. People had no locks. People did not lock their doors. You are not afraid of death. You are living in a place that you are sure that nothing will hurt you. Nobody will harm you. So this was the society they came. When they saw this society, they knew that the only way they can really overcome these people is to pollute the mind of some of them, some of the gullible ones, some of them that will not reason, that will not think deep. So they only had to get to those ones. So they came and stayed and spent some time with us. Many of you are thinking that they came when they came. When did the Portuguese came? When the Portuguese came, it was in the 16th century. But when they actually came was in the 13th century. These people came, they came to attack. Many of them were killed. Some of them surrendered. And they had to go back to their place. But when they went back, they did not come back again till after 300 years. So they took time, studied what they were going to do. Because these people, when they plan for you, they don't stop. That is why I keep telling my people, you can never come out of what you are in. Except you yourself also take our time, develop, call what you are doing, what you are doing. Don't sell yourself. Coming close to them will not help you. Because these things they've been doing to us, they didn't plan it today. It is not for today. They are doing it so that they will benefit from you today and their children will benefit. So they will never set you free. They will give you something that looks like freedom, but they are not going to set you free. That is why I said, if we go back to our ways of life, we will break the chains. We will break those chains. It doesn't matter how it is. We will break the chains. All we need to do is to go back to our way of life. Once we go back to the spiritual life that we live, it's something that they themselves cannot understand. That is why they try to destroy it at the first place. That is why they try to scatter it at the first place, because it is beyond their understanding. They call it mystic. They call it black magic because they cannot understand it. That's why they gave it name. They baptize it with names. So the only thing you can do, how do you defeat your opponent is by playing to a music that your opponent cannot dance to. So which music do we play? Let us go back becoming who we are. That was why it was difficult for them to penetrate. So the first thing they did was to confuse a certain generation. And when that generation began to compromise, they had access to what they wanted to do. So they began to work on us because they have seen people who have actually compromised, people who have sold out. So they now use those people to penetrate into us. But you should know that there's something you should know. It doesn't matter how far a man goes, your root still remains your root. Your root still remains your root. It doesn't matter how far you go. So what is helping us today is that we are still those spirits that we are. We still have that spiritual elements in us. So we are still connected to the center of creation. So it reminds us of who we are once in a while. Although many of us are listening, some of us are not. But those who are listening are those that have woken up. That is why we say that our ancestors live in us. We are our ancestors and our ancestors are us. So if you study the life of these Igbo people, you will know automatically that a lot of that damages were done. What were the damages? I said a people that do not recognize, there is nothing like kingship, there is nothing like royalty in Igbo land, because everybody, the Igbos are not regarded as men, they are regarded as gods. So it will be an insult for them to talk about royalty because they were above royals. An average Igbo person is regarded as a god. That is why they told you in their book that they moved from coast to coast, from the beginning to the end. They did not see a poor person, a beggar, a common beggar in the Igbo land. They didn't see a king in the Igbo land, but everything was in order. They did not see any police, army of any sort in Igbo land, but everything was in order. People kept law and order. They did not see any prison yard, but there was order. So it baffled them. They were shocked beyond their own human understanding. How can these people live this kind of life? Because where they are coming from, there is chaos, there is problem, there is violence, and there is police to put law and order. So they had these things, and still it was not working for them. But they came to a society where people lived freely. Doors were open. Nobody had lock to his door. They saw the kind of life the people were living. They were asking themselves, is this not a careless life? But still yet, there is no criminal of any sort. There is no crime being committed in any place. The society was well organized. So this thing baffled them. It disturbed them. They went back after that visit, 13th century. They went back and stayed and studied how to really overcome these people. The problem they had was not the other African countries, empires. The problem they had was the Igbo Empire because they've not seen anything like it before. They knew about democracy, but it is not the same as the one they had. Because if you talk about Rome, the Romans had soldiers. The Romans they have cells, they have prisons, where they put people. But the Igbos they have no prison. But everybody, people are living in law and order. There is this passion to live a righteous life. So they really had to understand what it is, and then they now realized that the power of the strength of this unity that the Igbos have is in their Ogu, is in their Ofo, because that is what controls the Igbo man, the Ofo and Ogu. And this Ofo and Ogu comes as a result of the Igbo man understanding the process of spirituality, understanding his spiritual life, the spiritual aspect of his life. So what the white man needed to do was not much. It was for him to separate the Igbo man from the knowledge of spirituality. And how will he do that? If he offers him something that looks like that is a little easy, that he can really, get away with, something that will allow him to do so many bad things and then get away with it. And that is when he now came with his own religion and talks about forgiveness. Because when you offend in certain levels, when you commit certain crimes, there is nothing like forgiveness. You are struck down. The land, the gods of the land will strike you down because they believe that you are a bad influence. If they allow you, you will corrupt or contaminate the other ones. So for them to really correct the evil that is coming, you are struck down, not because they hate you, but because they want to eliminate you. They want to remove you. Just like when you see, when you are selecting certain fruits and then you see a rotten fruit, you don't keep it among the good fruits. You remove the rotten fruit and throw it away. And then you keep selecting, because if you leave it, that bacteria will enter the other fruits that are good. And before you know it, you have a whole bunch of rotten fruits. So you will be at loss. So what they do is that they remove the rotten egg so that others can move on. And that there's a level it will be to, you see the gods, they will tamper justice with mercy, but the issue that they are the ones that decide. And because an Igbo man or an Igbo woman understand these things, so he keeps his hand clean, so that at the end of the day, whenever, even anywhere he comes, to say, look at me, or my hands are clean, because it is important to the Igbo society. So they saw these things and knew that the only way they can attack the Igbo man was to attack his spirituality. And that was what they did. And that is why the Igbos are lost till date. They cannot find their feet, because if you look at the Igbos, you see that majority of them are confused into Christianity. And that is the weapon the white man used at the first place to take away what should have been theirs. They are deeply confused. Over 90% of them, forget about the story you're hearing, are confused into Christianity. The rest of the 10% are struggling either with Judaism or those of them that have come back to Ordinala. And Ordinala is the way of the ancestors. That thing that made us superior to the white people before they came. And that was why when they came to buy slaves, the slaves they were looking for were no other slaves than Igbos. They focused on the Igbos because they know that an Igbo man is committed. Once he has given his word, because of the way they were brought up, he will maintain his word. It's easy for you to cheat an Igbo man because he has no heart of cheating. He's focused. He knows that his word is his band, so he doesn't want his cheat to be angry with him. So he does that which he says that he's going to do, because he believes that his cheat is listening to him, so he cannot lie to you. So they understood these people and they wanted them. And the most of all, these people were strong and hardworking people. So they were the ones that were captured and sold in slavery, because they were, when you get an Igbo man, it's an Igbo person sold into slavery can fetch you the money you will get in 3 other slaves from different types of Africa. So that is why our people have been suffering they've suffered all this while, because we have been the target. But I wonder why at the end of the day, the white man is no longer here. Although they've set structures, the people who are now propelling the machineries of the white man and keeping our people in blindness and in darkness is we ourselves. It is the so-called Igbos who are supposed to be learned, who are supposed to be educated, because they went through the white man's program, because they have embraced the white man's way, because it's putting food at their table, because it's making their life better. So they are the ones propelling these ideas that the white man has left behind. The structures, when I say structures, it's ideas. These are machineries that the white man have put in place to keep propelling his idea and to keep us where they want us to be. So this is what is going on in the Igbo community, that our people are helping propel these missionaries. They will tell you so many different stories. In fact, you come to a place and then when you look at the people and look at what is coming out of their mouth, you will know that these people are confused spiritually. They might be intelligent, but spiritually they are confused. You will see where the so-called kings, of course, which we know that there is nothing royalty about them, because royalty, talking about royals, has nothing to do with Igbo culture. So you will see the so-called kings, acclaimed kings, telling you that they are from somewhere else, giving you stories that have no meaning, stories that a madman or a drunk can only say. So you start asking yourself, what is wrong with these people? It's because something has eaten deep into them. When a man sells his soul, he doesn't reason like a human being again. When a man sells his soul, he talks out of reach. So you don't need to be surprised, because these people have sold their soul. Because if you've not sold their soul, if your soul is still intact and is still with you, you will be conscious. When a man have lost every ability to reason consciously, that means the soul has been sold. And you will know it is said, by their fruit you shall know them. You will know it by the words that come out of their mouth. How could you? There is not even any African country or African empire that will say that they came from Middle East. Life began in Africa. Even it has been proven by the so-called Europeans, whom we are saying that came and told us lies. They have proved it scientifically that everybody started life. Every life started from Africa before our people begin to push like this. Then how can you at this time and age of life, with all the informations available, I'm not even talking about our local history, how can you now say you come from outside Africa? Is that not madness? Is that not stupidity of the highest order? Why should such a thought even come into your head? Why should you even believe that for once? So there's some things you look at, you start asking yourself, are these people really, do they really sit down to think? That somebody wrote something in a book does not make it real. That somebody said something does not make it real. You look at the evidences that are before you. You look at them. That is what makes you a human being. That is why, okay, most of you that actually went to the white man's school, you should even know more than those that did not. You do researches, you go and study. You can read the white man's language. Most of us cannot read, and most of us cannot speak the white man, but you can read the white man's language. You can speak his language. Why don't you now go and do research? This truth is staring at your face. You cannot just come up and start claiming something that is not, because you are saying it, you want people to believe it. Because you are saying it, you want people to settle for it. Because you are saying, if you are saying it, everybody should accept it. It is the truth because you are saying it. If it's before, we all can jump in and say, yes, it's true. If it's before. But it is not like that now. There are informations everywhere at people's reach. So whatever you say now, even as I'm talking to you now, there are those that are going to do researches based on most of these things I've said. And that is the normal thing. That is what is supposed, that is what people are supposed to do. Because you cannot, there is no way. It's me, like me telling you now, that I was the one that I was the one that gave birth to my father. Or I was the one that gave birth to my grandfather. It is funny. Because actually, I know I wouldn't have been here, or I've been at the place I am, if my father or didn't give back to me, and his own father didn't give back to him. You don't count history backward, you count it from back to front. So we cannot be the first and later we become the last. It makes no sense. Go and check history. No matter how you look at it, it is the other races that came out of the black race. It is not the black race that came out of them. It is stupidity and madness for somebody to say that. I don't want to go there, because some people who have low mentality will misunderstand what you are saying, and then they will think you are going personal on what you are saying. But the issue is that before we talk or before we make certain comments, we have to really think it through and then do researches. Don't just come and say something because you were told. You see, one thing is that if there is anything that has actually misled people a lot, it is these so-called scriptures, whether it is the Bible, the Torah, or even the book of Hindus. These scriptures have really misled people. And people take what is written in these places on face value. They don't even investigate it, but they don't know that the people that wrote these things wrote them on the foundation of lies. So when they tell you something, they will even refer you to the scriptures that has no substantial proof. Scriptures that you cannot have, you cannot hold something tangible. You are referring me to a scripture that has no date in it, that does not have a reference. They don't refer you to a historical book that has references. They refer you to either the Bible or the Torah. They are saying, confirming what they are saying based on a scripture that somebody wrote that is no date in it. Do you know how many books I've written? Let me refer you to my books, because my books are going to confirm what I'm saying. It makes no sense. How can you refer me to a scripture? Because it's confirming what you're saying. The person that wrote it may have the same mentality that you have, or the person must have written it to fool you and the way they are doing. So let us not complicate matters. What we are saying is that we tell you things and we give you the evidence. What I keep telling Igbos is this: I am not imposing something on you, and I'm not coming up with a new idea. You go back home, study the formation of the family, study the way the people, all the family together. This has always been happening. Now, if the compound, that is what we call family. Family is an individual compound, maybe you, your wife, and your children. Now, that is, if we not say, when we say compound, we are talking about the general family. You, your wife, your children, your siblings, and their own families. Now, if the general family wants to do something, it is the men that goes to represent them. If it's something that also affects the women will have their own separate meeting. Now, whatever the woman decides, there has to be somebody that will represent the whole women. Then the person will come and meet the men and say, this is what we, the woman, have agreed on, based on majority acceptance. Then they will tell the men, okay, since you people are going to discuss, this is our own opinion. We are here to represent the opinion of the women. So let us discuss it and then see if it aligns with our own. They will have that discussion. Once they come to a conclusion, then they will bring out two representatives that will move from that compound to what they call kindred. Kindred is like a portion of a village. You know, there is a way they count themselves according to um, um, genetics. So a portion of a village. So those two people will represent the compound at the kindred meeting. So they will not say, this is what we have agreed in our own compound. This other compound will decide what they have agreed. They will all discuss it and come to a reasonable agreement. Then when they come to that compromise, then the kindred will bring out two representatives again among the whole people that came to that kindred meeting. And they will take the issue again to the village square. Now, each kindred in that village will bring representatives. So by the time they discuss it again in the village and they come to a conclusion, a reasonable conclusion, the whole village, the village now will bring out their own representative, maybe about 6 to 16 or 18 elders. They that will represent them in the community. So every village in that town or community will bring their own representative, and they will all sit down and discuss it. You see how it's done. So there is no particular say that Then there is a man that sits on top of the whole thing. In case if there is an imbalance, he has to balance it. He is not just elected, he is not appointed, but by nature, he sits there and he is the oldest in that particular community. So being the oldest gives him the opportunity to sit in that seat. They call him Dioba. So automatically he calls the shot because he's the oldest. And why is this so? Because they believe that age is wisdom, especially when somebody is reasonable, when somebody is reasoning like a human being. The more you grow, the more you acquire more wisdom because you've had more experiences. So, and by nature, and because it is all in line, the spirits are also working. Remember, this man is close to his grave. So he is more closer to the spirit world than the physical world. So he sees things in the spirit, he understands things, and he's not doing anything for selfish gain because he has seen life, he has enjoyed life, he has eaten, he has participated in so many festivals. What he wants to do now is to live and leave the people he's living and leave them in peace and create a peaceful atmosphere. So he will stand for justice. So these are the things they understand, and that is why the man is the one that decides at the end of the day. If the thing is not balanced, he's the one that balances it. But whereby it is balanced, we have majority of people who have agreed on one particular thing because everybody is going to think it through. Remember, it's coming from the family to get to where it's going to. So once they have come to an agreement, they carry it out. So everybody is a citizen. Nobody is more important than the other. Even the smallest child in the empire has a say. People's lives are valued. But unlike what we are seeing today, we have destroyed our lives with the so-called royal system, with the so-called Eze system and things like that. These are kings that they go and they take money and they feed their mouth. Almost all of them are rich overnight. None of them have a reasonable job. Where is the money coming from? The money that is meant for the community, they are the ones eating it. So they have sold their people. And we are not even interested in the money that they are getting from the government because that government system is not something that we want to buy into. We do not celebrate the European structure of governance. What we want to do is to bring back that how it was. We know it's going to be difficult, but I will believe that is where the total deliverance will come for our people. How it has been, because there was no corruption. People were taken to the shrine. You don't place your hand on any Bible or any Quran and swear for us. You swear at the shrine. Let you and the gods have a combat if you refuse to do what you are supposed to do. So that is what we do. That is how we work. And people know that the gods do not laugh. They don't have time for nonsense. They don't have time for nonsense. They are not waiting for you when you die. They will punish you. They will strike you instantly, there and then. So when you take an oath, when you swear before the gods, be ready to keep your part of the bargain. You are dealing with deities that have no time for nonsense. They don't have time. They are too busy to be entertained by your foolishness. They will just put you off and then continue. And they know this. So what is happening in our society is like we have to bring back most of these things so that people will know that they ought to be responsible. The Igbo life have to come back for us to be a people. That is why we are saying we are using it as a pest for the whole Africa, for the black world. For if we really want to come out and take our place in the society, then we have to call back the ways of our ancestors. And the perfect way, this is a society that they have their own writing system. Before the Europeans came and changed everything, they gave us the Latin way of writing. We had our own writing. We had everything. And these things were working for us because all of them are spiritually rooted. So we've lost our spiritual base. That is why we are struggling. We've lost everything because we have followed the strange way, the white man's strange way. And we keep saying it. Our people are not understanding what we are saying. Today now, the average Igbo man is confused. He's claiming this and he's claiming that. He's struggling with his own. He has lost his identity crisis. He has lost identity. The other day, I saw a bunch of. I wouldn't even that they saw as acclaimed kings. This is of Igbo land. I saw them. They were wearing Israeli flag. They were. Imagine that level of ignorant. It's just like me coming out of this program now, and I'm wearing American flag. As what? as I'm an American or I'm proud of America, or I don't know, why should I wear American flag? When Americans themselves, those who are Americans, really wear the flag. Why should I wear the flag? It makes no sense. Why should I sew my cloth with American flag? When the Americans themselves, I've never seen the American president. They sew a suit for him. It's in American color. What I see them wear is black suit. They can only put something, a pin here, maybe that signify or that carry the flag of America. But they don't wear American flag. They don't use it to sew cloth. But you see some people who have lost their mind. People, these are people look up to. You sew your full cloth, America, Israeli flag, parading yourself as a traditional ruler in the so-called Igbo land. You see how far, how deep we've gone. You see where we are. Africa has lost it. So we are trying to come. We think we are out of slavery. That's why I keep telling people, political freedom is not freedom. It's just 1% of freedom. If we must talk about freedom, let us speak of total freedom. Something that will set us free and set us free. Because it is the same thing. If you sell your dog and you go and buy a monkey, you still have something that scoots in your house. You still have something that bends. Because the monkey does not stand straight. They are the same 10 and 10 pence. The same thing. The same thing. So why should we think in that line? Why should we reason in that angle? Why should our thought be there? If we are going to demand respect from the rest of the world, then we ought to be proud of who we are and what our ancestors have left for us. We have to be proud of who we are. We really have to be proud of who we are and what our ancestors have left for us. If we must be respected the way we desire to be respected, if we must be recognized the way we want to be recognized, you cannot control the physical life, if you have no spiritual control over anything. And you cannot have a spiritual control over anything when you have already submitted your life to something that does not make any sense to you spiritually. Just because you want to be applauded, or you want to be recognized by some certain individuals or characters. It makes no sense. It really makes no sense. I cannot beat my child because I want to impress you. I cannot deny my child or neglect my wife because I don't want you to feel bad. If you're my friend, if you harass any of my family without respecting me, if I am opportune to hit you, I will hit you blue and black. I will hit you down. At the nearest opportunity, I will hit you down. I don't care. To hell with your friendship. I'm ready to defend what is mine. And I'm very happy most of my friends know it, because I will not insult your own. If I'm offended by your own, I will let you know. And then I watch what you will do about it. I will give you that respect as a friend. So if you don't respect me, I cannot deny my own because I want to impress you. Why should I do that? Why should I do that? Most of the things we do, we think we are doing it and it's going to work. But let us look at the spiritual implications. We are also dealing with the spirits here. They said to you, even in the so-called Bible, that you should not be afraid of he that will kill the flesh and cannot be able to kill the soul. That you should rather fear the one that will kill the soul and the flesh. Now you are afraid of man, ordinary man that you are living with. But you are not afraid of your ancestors whom you do not see, those who are in the spirit realm, what they can do to you. So we feel that we can trade on them, we can spit on them, we can kick on them, because we want to achieve a physical aim. And then we think that it will not have any effect on us. You see, what we are saying is not because we want to talk. We are saying it so that the land will be good, so that all of us will enjoy the benefit of what is to come. Let me tell you people, when I talk about time and season, what I'm trying to say is that the time of deliverance is at hand, and that is why these people are coming. If you are in Africa, or if you are following the stories of what is happening in Africa, you will see that many continents, many players are coming to Africa because they have seen that it's about time you liberate yourself, that your deliverance is at hand. If you stick to yourself, you will be liberated. If you stick to yourself, the whole chain that they put in our neck will be broken. And this is what they don't want to happen. That is why they are coming to you to see if they can still talk you into enslaving yourself. And unfortunately for us, those who are leading us, many of them, those of our leaders, political leaders, are now accepting the offer of enslaving us another time. And once this is done, let me tell you something. This era will go. We will still be in chain. So the only thing we can do as a people now, because spiritually the chains are breaking. But it will take our own effort to put the chains back. And that is what most of our leaders are doing. They are selling out and they are bringing us back to that place of submission. And this is something that we are not supposed to allow to happen. That is why some of us are speaking up, not because we want to talk, but because we are trying to say and educate us on the implications of accepting this status quo, accepting this condition that these leaders are putting us into, accepting it because it's going to affect us spiritually. It's going to affect us spiritually. We are submitting to forces that have really done damages, more damages than good in our entire life and also against our own destiny. All the life we know for some, let's say a little over 1,000 years now, we've always been following. We've always been following. We've always been behind. But then we have the best talents. We have the best skills. We have the best, but still yet we are always at behind. It's not a physical thing only. It is something that is done spiritually, and we can undo it now because the time is right. So we are in the season and time where nature is calling for us to stand up and claim our place. To stand up and claim our place. And you cannot do that when you have embraced a foreign religion. That is the first mistake, spiritual mistake, the highest mistake spiritually that we are making as a people. Is our the way we have embraced these foreign religions. It doesn't matter what it is. I don't care whether you are doing Hindu or you are going after Buddha, Hare Krishna. I don't care. I don't care what you are going after. Good. Good morning, my beautiful people. I've come once again. So we are not interested in what you are going after. All we are saying is that there is life, the life that has been given to us. If we can trace it back, if we can really understand the implications of the life that was given to us, what our ancestors expect of us, and then maintain that particular life, then you will see every other thing will be secondary. That is the point, and that is where we are going to. So the point is that we have allowed ourselves, we have allowed ourselves to be. Sorry, I was cut off in the Facebook. Sorry, once again, I'm back. Something happened and the whole thing went off. But then if you're still joining us, we are still on the same topic. So what I said is this. We've had it to this place. And it's about time we call a spade a spade. It's about time we realize that we cannot but build, that we cannot settle for this situation anymore. We can no longer bear the pains of frustration anymore. That we need to stand up and be who. And we are in a very sensitive spiritual season, a spiritual period, a period that we are called to stand up and defend that which is ours. But the unfortunate thing is this: the problem we have as a people is that many of us don't like to find themselves in an uncomfortable position. We like to be in a place that is familiar. I met a lady one time and I was trying to tell her, educate her on how to balance her spiritual life as an Igbo woman. She made a comment that really shocked me. She told me that she was born a Catholic and that she was going to die a Catholic. You know, for most of you that don't know what Catholic is, Catholics are is a denomination of Christianity. Now, I said, why? He said, because her father was a Catholic before he died. That her mother too is a Catholic, but she's still alive. You understand the point? She does not have any good reason except for the fact that the father was a Catholic, the mother was a Catholic. So for that, she will grow, she will die in the Catholic. So we have a problem. And that is why at times I keep asking myself, how do we come out of this? How do our people understand the level and the strength of their spiritual life? Because spirituality is not something you gain. It is something you work and you earn because it's already in you. So you need to develop it. You need to work towards it, and you cannot develop it at the wrong corridors. That is why I don't care who that person is. Anybody that is religious or that is in any religion set cannot tell you any spiritual thing. If he talks to you about spiritual lives, his experiences, know that he is having access to certain spirituality corridors, certain spiritual corridors that is outside his faith. This is what I'm going to tell you. That is outside his faith. Don't mind whatever they are saying. You know, at times people will label certain things, they give certain things certain label so that it will be marketable, especially in the marketplace. So, and we see a lot of pastors doing that. Even in the Muslim, imams do it. They some of them practice African spirituality and they mix it up with Islam. So that is what it is. One moment, I'm coming.
Ini es el dueño ni nada del piso ni nada. Vale. Ok, gracias.
I'm sorry, I'm back again. Please, I had to attend to someone. So, like I'm saying, I want us to understand these facts, and when we do understand them, you will now know that most of you who are following people sheepishly. What is following somebody sheepishly? Following somebody without, like a sheep. The way a sheep follows a shepherd. The sheep does not really reason or have a say in the direction that the shepherd is, trying to steer the sheep to. What the sheep does is that the shepherd raises the cane, the sheep moves towards that direction, and that is all it is. So whether it's going to meet fortune there or it's going to meet misfortune, the sheep has no say. It doesn't. It has no direct control over his destiny. His destiny is being prepared by the shepherd. It is the shepherd that decides when the sheep will die, and this is what many of you are doing with your spiritual life. You are following people sheepishly. You are submitting your spiritual life to them, so you have no say whether you will live or die. You don't have that control. You don't have that say. It's not in your place to say. You just do whatever you are told to do. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong in being obedient, but you cannot be obedient to your own detriment. You cannot be obedient to your own detriment. You see, the funny thing about the whole thing is this: at times you wonder whether these people are under a spell. There are many people who have been in a certain religion. Let me use Christianity as a case study. They've been in a particular place, in a particular church, for complete 7 to 10 years, or even at times more. And nothing has changed in their life. In fact, their situation has gone from bad to worst. But for the fact that they've been promised this heaven, imaginary life, and because they have no understanding of the spiritual aspect of life, they are still in that place. Now, somebody have been in a place for 10 years. Is not that a waste of life? You've wasted 10 years of your life. Even if you're going to live 100 years, remove 10 years from 100 years. That is 90. And let's remove the years that we are young, maybe from 1 year to 14 years, because nobody's expecting you to do anything, tangible then. Now add it to 10 years, 24 years. Out of 100 years, you have about 75 years. Now, in these 75 years, you remove the days of errors. You see that maybe let's give and take 30 years. Now we have cut out of 100 years, we have removed 50 years, and it is not common these days that people live up to 100 years, especially those who are not even conscious. So at the end of the day, you see that you have only 15 years to make something useful out of your life, because you have wasted your life waiting for imaginary things, stories told to keep you in bondage. So when we talk about bondage, people don't understand what we mean by bondage. Bondage means that something that limits you, that binds you, and does not allow you to excel, to move forward. And that is what religion does. For something to tie you down in a place. You are not in prison. No. You are not sentenced to any imprisonment. You didn't commit any crime, but you imprisoned yourself because of the circumstances you surround yourself with and the condition that you created. They were man-made, not nature that created it. You imprisoned yourself for 10 years. And then you say you are not in bondage, and you are still in that prison, and your eyes is not still opening. Then what you do is that you see that this place is not favoring you. You jump from this church to another church. Your problem is not the church. The problem is what they have conditioned you to believe in. It's the system they sold to you. It's not because of the church. The pastor is not as bad as you think. He's a businessman who is feeding from you. So he can never do anything that will favor you. He will do what will favor him. He eats and his family eats first before he thinks of you. So these things are very simple. Because these are businessmen. They know, most of them understand the rhythm and understand that the game, there is no reality in the game that is being played. So they play it and play it to fullest. You understand what I'm saying? And some of these people, if you trace their track record, you will see that they've been in this business for a very long time. So they understand how it works. They've been in the business of deception. I'm not talking about the pastor, but they've been in the business of deception. So most of them were converted from deceptive businesses into pastors. Some of them came from Islam into Christianity. They understand these games. So it is all for their profit. Whether you like it or not, they are feeding on you. But the worst part is not even they're feeding on you. It's not even the money you are giving to them. The worst part is that you are in bondage. You understand? The worst part is that you are in bondage. And that is one thing you've not realized. And you cannot be free until you come out of the bondage. So the thing is that when we talk about these people, and when we talk about the damages they have done, we are talking about how they've been able to imprison people. So before these things came, because all of them came together, like I said, when I talk about Christianity, I'm talking about the coming of the Western civilization, the coming of the Western education, the coming of the Western politics. Excuse me, I have to take this one. Hola. Buenos días. Mira, una cosa, yo llamo a uno de estos chicos, ellos dicen yo pasa su habitation esta noche. So déjame hasta viernes, ¿entiendes? Hasta viernes. Pero yo va a pasar allí a esta noche para, creo que él va a darme algo. Yo va a coger algo esta noche. Sí, no, para mañana, para mañana. Viernes para mañana. Sí, a las 10, ahí en la tienda. Sí, vale. I'm sorry, my people. I'm still on the topic. So, like I said, you find out that the journey to deliver our people is still far, because a man cannot respond to something that he does not value, or something that he does not really have a hold on. So, what is the question? The question is this: Will you force somebody to accept that he or she needs to be liberated from a bondage. No. A slave can only be free when he realizes that he's enslaved. There are, if you look at, if you even go into the soul Bible they are calling, they will tell that there are some slaves, when their masters is about to free them, they will say, no, we want to remain with you. We still want to be slaves. And the master now will give that slave a ring. Now, what they were trying to tell you are most of our people who they alleviate to the status of icons to really misdirect us. That is the ring the master has given to the slave. Now, these people are people that they pull out and say, look, we are going to treat you specially. We are going to make you a voice among your people. We are going to lift you up. They make you an icon. So they give you that ring. Now, because of the ring, other slaves will look up to you and they want to wear that same ring. This is the system they are using. That is what they've used, and it has worked for them, even in America. So when they give them that ring, what is the ring? The ring is that they make them famous. They make them rich. The ring comes in so many forms. They make them a little powerful among their people. Now, once they have made them a small artificial light, so that those who think that they are, those who are really in darkness will see them as a light, maybe they are a mirror, a reflection of the light, then all of them will walk towards them and they will want to be like them. They will inspire to be like them. So this is what they do. They pick up somebody that is coming up and then help lift that person up. That is the ring. That is why they say a slave, when it's time for him to be free, he goes to the master and say, I do not want to be free. A slave, a lazy slave, but I know that he cannot survive on his own. So he really wants to depend on the master. He goes to the master and says, look, I don't want to be free. This is what I want. I want to remain in your house. And they said the master now will give the slave a ring. Either, I don't know where they put the ring, either in the ear or whatever. He gives the slave a ring. And then the slave now becomes his perpetually. Now, this is what they do to most of our people, especially most of the people that we look up to. We see them as angels. Now they alleviate them. The same people that alleviated them is the same people that has enslaved Africa. The problem is Africa. And that is why there is this self-hate that has generated so much amongst us. And it can never go. Because these people are playing their game, and they are playing their game too well, because they have even hired, conditioned our own people to help them play the game. And that is the area we are not looking at. So I do not see, I agree that there are people amongst us that are helping them, but I don't see those people as enemies. I see the people as people that has been also brainwashed. Because this whole thing is not just physical, it's psychological, it is also spiritual. And because we have defied our spiritual strength, it is easy for these people to manipulate us spiritually. And that is why many of us have really devoted our time and our energy to awaken ourselves spiritually and also awaken our people. And that is why we are doing most of these teachings we are doing, teaching you about the spiritual life, making you understand that what you are holding is nothing. It will not protect you, it will not guide you, it will not develop you. Until you come to this particular way, that is when you will be able to become above those who have been oppressing you. That is when you will be able to liberate yourself. I had a story that really, touched me. A story about some Igbos who drowned themselves in the river in somewhere in Virginia, in USA, because they refused to be enslaved. Now, imagine when they did that, how many years ago that was done. Imagine how many years ago that was done. But today we are talking about them. And people are being moved by the action they took. You know why they were able to do it? Because they saw the spiritual life more important than the physical life. They were not moved by the material things. And they knew that they will not die. And truly, truly, they didn't die because they still live in us. They still live in us. They still live in that story. So they are still alive, very much alive. We can still see it as if it was done yesterday. Their story resonates with us, with our feeling, our desire to be free. So we still see them, we still recognize them. And that is how an average African should be able to reason. Your focus has to be on spiritual things more than physical things. That is the only way you can come above board. That is the only way you can be able to excel and overcome those who are oppressing you. Because they refuse to be enslaved. They refuse to compromise. They refuse to settle for what is not what they bargained for. The life that was not, this is not the type of life their ancestors chose for them, even though they find themselves in a place of oppression, they find themselves in the face of death, they rather die than to compromise. That is the spirit of an Igbo man. They rather die than compromise. So that was why they drowned themselves. They had to die in the sea. It happened so many years ago, but we are talking about them today. We are talking about these Igbos today that died in Virginia. We were not there when it happened, but this, you see, there is a way. There is a way people live after death. There's a way people mortalized, makes their memory to last for for eternity. Is when a human understands that he's more of a spirit than a human, and he attempts and steps into the spiritual world to do extraordinary things on the face of the earth. That is when such a life remains significant even at death. That is when such a life remains significant even at death. So we have a people that understood this, and that was why they said, no, we prefer to die. And instead of them to live in shame, they died with honor. Instead of them to live with shame, they knew that a man, it is better for a man to die with honor than to live in the king's palace with shame. So they decided to die with honor, and they died with honor. So we must understand that even when we are thinking of what to do, how to compromise, we must understand that you may compromise and they make life a little comfortable for you. But mind you, when you die, posterity will judge you. Generation to come will judge you. There are people we have thought they were heroes, only to discover a few years later, after they have died, that these people really sold themselves out and sold their souls out. And today now we don't have respect for them. Is that the kind of life you choose for yourself? That is why you must have this deeper spiritual understanding. Because if you have spiritual understanding, you will understand that the things of the spirit are more important. They are more important. They are more important. They are more important than the things that are not of the spirit. They are more important than physical things. They are more appreciated, more celebrated than physical things. So this is what we need to understand as a people. And that is why the problem we have is because we've been made to understand that there are certain lives you will live. Whether you like it or not, there are certain lives you will live. And things will work maybe in your own favor. And then people choose to settle for such lives. So you see them, they have the best of material things, and they think it's okay because they've sold out, they've sold their lives, and they've made life comfortable for themselves and for their family. But then they forget that what determines whether we were successful or whether we fulfill destiny is posterity. What defines how successful we are is posterity and time, because time and posterity will always judge us. And that is why, no matter what I do, I am very, very conscious. I'm very, very conscious. I'm not a perfect man, but I try as much as I can to make sure that when the story will be told, it doesn't matter how you misunderstand me now, it doesn't matter how complicated I may sound today, but when the story will be told, no matter where it's going to be told, when the story will be told, posterity will speak for me and will speak in my favor. That is one thing I have always done. That is one thing I have always stood for. That is one thing I have always done, knowing fully well that I am not here just to make fulfill my own bids. That I am on assignment. I'm a messenger. That I'm sent by nature to fulfill destiny. And each time I wake up, what I ask myself is that what I'm going to do today, how is it in line with the destiny I'm called to fulfill? And I try as much as I can to do the little I can. because nobody is going to solve all the problems on earth. But why don't you do what you can and leave the rest for others? Because we are all part and parcel of that one God. If I do my own bid, you do yours, and everybody does his or her own, the whole problem will be solved. The problem of this particular generation is with a very few, and it will also take a few of us that comes together in one accord to solve that problem that is with just few. So if we are able, if 1% of us are able to come together and reason alike and join our forces together, we will destroy what is destroying us. We will terminate what has come to excuse me. We will destroy what is destroying us. It is just obvious. It's as simple and as plain as that. So I want us to understand that. That is why when we talk about liberation, we focus strictly on the spiritual level of life. Because without spiritual freedom, there is no freedom at all. I don't care how you think. That is why no matter where you run to, no matter where you are, your heart beats for your home. You think about your place, your home. Why is your home special? Your home is where you have spiritual bonds, where you have spiritual connection. That is why you always think about your home. So no matter where you are, it doesn't matter the kind of house you build in certain places, you always want to go home. Because home is where you find love, where you find acceptance. I've seen people who have gone to so many places, change their international passports, and at the end of the day, when they die, they will say, go and bury them at their place. Why? It's because there is nothing like home. It doesn't matter where you come from. Even if you're living in Africa, if you're an American, you want to be buried in America. This is where you are connected. That is why our brothers who are in America, our sisters who are in America, they want to come back to Africa. Because there is this connection that you have with your home. There is this connection that you have with your home. Spiritual connection that you cannot define and you cannot beat it. You cannot cut it off. It is there. And it's as simple as that. You are connected with it. You identify with it. It is there. It is as simple as that. And that is something you should not give away for anything. But whenever you sell out, you've given it away. So let us not deceive ourselves. Each time you sell out, you've given it away. So many of us are following the wrong people because they are heading towards the wrong direction. Not that they are not intelligent. Being intelligent is one thing. And being knowledgeable. Knowledge has to do with what you know. You might be intelligent and you only know of lies. You are educated on lies. You are taught lies. And because nobody has presented the truth to you, you will never know the truth. You don't have knowledge of the truth, but you are intelligent. That does not make you knowledgeable. Knowledgeable in the things of the truth is when you are taught the truth. You know the truth. You may not even be intelligent, but because the only thing you've been exposed to is the truth, so you have knowledge of the truth. So the question you ask yourself is not if this person is intelligent. It's not if this person is clever or if the person is smart. The question you ask yourself is that does this person have knowledge of the truth? Because the truth, let me shock you, the truth at times does not look like the truth. Because most things people tend to settle for are things that will make their journey easy. It's just like somebody now who is trying to find his route. He now comes all of a sudden and decides, it's easy. He just picks one of these scriptures and say, that is it. I said it. We are Muslims. Yes, before these white people came, we were Muslims. He settled there. He doesn't want to look further. He has accepted that he is a Muslim. And because Muslim is different from Christianity, so that is what we are before the white man came. But you have asked yourself, when did Islam start? Before Islam started, what were we doing? Now, somebody that wants to say, we are Jewish people. We are not Christians. It was these people that came and removed us from our Jewish faith and made us Christians. Because they want it easy. They want the easy way out. They don't want to dig deep. They don't want to bother their brain. They don't want to think deep. So they just settled for what they accepted, what is in front of them. And then to help it all, there are books that will help them to do more research on that thing which they believe. And then the journey ends there. He has accepted he's of the Jewish faith before Christianity came. What is the difference between Christianity and Jewish faith? What is the difference? What is the difference between the two? What is the difference between Christianity and Islam? There is no difference. The label is just what is the difference. The system is the same. Muslims are killing people now. They are committing terrorist attacks. Christians did so. Christians did it for hundreds of years. What Islam is doing now is even small to what Christianity did. I don't need to give you instances. You know them. They are in your face. Christianity damaged, destroyed. Even these Muslims, there were times Christians were attacking them. Go and check. There was a time Britain colonized Palestine. Almost all the places of the world. India. What are we saying? These things are things that happened in our own time. I'm talking about the 19th century. Islam is doing their own today. We are seeing it and we are complaining. Christians have done it before. Christians have done it before. Then am I talking about Judaism? You also need to understand that most of the, you see, let me tell you something. The evil that these religious sects propagate, the evil they do is heavy. To really establish their presence in a place, it is very heavy. That is why many of us that understand the nature of religion, we are saying no to it and we are rejecting it because we know it comes with a lot of evil. First of all, it will breed hatred among families. It will develop hatred in a way that people are going to be killed, either now or in the future, because they want to secure and protect that in which they believe. And it takes somebody's reasoning away. It takes your mind away from reality because it does not help you develop in any form. Spiritually, physically, it does not help you develop. It conditions you in the way that you submit to certain things. That is why we preach spirituality. We want people to understand what is spirituality. It has nothing to do with being a Christian or being a Jewish person or being an Islamic person or being a Hindu. Spirituality has nothing to do with any of these things. These things are man-made religions. People who are trying to find the way to what you already have, you yourself, because you are an African, because you are black, because you are an Igbo person. You already have these things in you. You already have it. Your ancestors taught you how to go into a spiritual corridor, how to develop your spiritual mind, how to communicate with the spirit. You've been taught these things. You know it. You already have it. You already have it. Why are you looking for another way? Why are you looking for another way? Why are you looking for another way? If we start talking about the atrocities that most of these religions have created, especially the one that has committed the highest crime, if I say it, you won't believe it because most of you are not aware of it, is Christianity. Even in Europe, where it is their major religion, many Europeans, millions of Europeans were killed, and even to date are still being killed because of the same Christianity. So there is no difference between it and Islam. Let us not forget about the time frame. It's just the same thing. If you dig deep into history, you will see that religion has never done anything good for any people. The only thing it has done, it has succeeded in creating a political platform where the people's mind are being controlled, where they have to block their direction towards spirituality. So the people end up having something that looks like it and that is not it. You understand? Something that looks like it, but that is not it. Because spirituality is something that looks like spirituality. So the people end up having something that looks like it, but that is not it. So we must understand that religion have never actually done anything for us that has given us the positive thing that we need. But rather, it has created these holes that have helped in frustrating us as a people. And that gives us concern. So we must understand that. I want us to understand that as a people. So when I talk about the problem we are facing or the issues that we have as a people, what I say is that we are having problem because we are being controlled. Our mind is being controlled, and the control that we are getting, why our mind is being controlled is because we have allowed ourselves to be led by emotions. We have allowed people to come into our hearts, into our reasoning, and tell us what they know, what they think that we should hear, or what they know that we want to hear, and blend it with what they want us to hear about certain things, and then paint certain issues as if it is working against us, and then paint certain issues as if it's working in our favor, and push them to us by faith, and then we receive them, and we have given up our life, and then we start following them. They now become our reasoning. It is whenever whatever the reason they process in their mind, that is what they dish out to us. My brother Chizro, I'm trying to bring you in. I don't know what is happening. I'm trying to bring you in, but it's not working. Let me see if I'll try this one again. So okay, now it's working. So you will see and you will understand what I'm saying. That the problem is that my brother, wake up.
Hello, my brother. Good
Afternoon. So
all these things will be okay. It goes back to identity disorder, which you and I come every day to talk about. It's because we don't have that knowledge of self. In fact, it pains my heart that even some people that claim to be conscious are falling for all these gimmicks. If you notice, in the olden times, we used to say the visceral is trying to mimic the monarch. Right now, it's the monarch that is trying to mimic the visceral. Why do we think that we need to associate ourselves with other identities to be relevant? We are the people who are being copied. Now, why are we going back to copying the people who copied from us?
That is the point. That is the point. That is the point. The thing is that people don't understand the implication of spirituality. Now, my brother, you have a spirit in you. I have a spirit in me. Now, let me tell you something. Your spirit has an assignment that is different from my own assignment. So if I copy you, I'll be weakening my spirit because it may not be in line.
You are living a different thing altogether.
You understand?
You are living a false life. There is a reason we all have different DNAs. The DNA is not just what explains your prototype. It is of the body. It's prototype of your spirit.
Exactly.
That's why even twins, identical twins, they don't even have the same DNA.
Exactly.
Two people have the same DNA.
Exactly.
In technology, everything is code.
Exactly.
Have they asked themselves why two people cannot use the same email address? If another one person has used it, you can't use it again because that name you are seeing in the computer setting, it is numbers. All those things are numbers. Those alphabets are numbers, and they are combination of numbers. And if I have chosen this one, you cannot choose it again unless you move from something like Gmail to Yahoo Mail. But as long as it's there, you can't. This is exactly how this human spirit is.
Exactly.
No two people are the same.
Exactly.
Then know where you came from. Know where your root is. Stop. You are an apple. Stop trying to be an onion.
Mazi, to really drive down to what you have said, you see, that is at times I keep telling my people that I understand my ancestors. They are wise. Now look at the Igbo spiritual setting. Every man, no man bows to another man. Every man bows to only his chief. And every man has his own obi.
Yes.
where he communicates with his chi, because it's only he that understands his chi. And that is why they tell you Onyenachia, Onyenachia. He understands his chi. He hears the language of his chi. He speaks to his chi. Now, because that the Igbo man understand that when it comes to the things of the spirit, you are unique. And for him to appreciate you, he must appreciate that uniqueness that is in you, that spiritual uniqueness. So he allows you, when you come to a native doctor. Now, okay, fine.
Individuality is the word.
Okay, individuality, yeah. When it comes to a native doctor, what does the native doctor do? The native doctor will ask you to say what you want. He does not get himself involved. If you finish speaking, he will say, okay, let it be for you as you have declared. Because he understands that you are speaking from the spirit. So it has nothing to do with him. He only created a platform for you to perform your work and go.
Our people don't even understand who they are and what's in them. Okay, like for instance, this Jewish madness going on. If you remember, 4 months ago, I made a video about it. I said, this is creeping in. See what I'm seeing. See what I'm seeing. It's another form of madness. It's not different from Christianity. Now, tell me this. You said you are against Christianity, that what they wrote in the Bible is false.
Yeah.
That they are all lies. But you believe in the Torah. Don't you know that the Torah is the Old Testament?
They are the same. The whole Abrahamic religion is the same.
Now, the Quran, go and check it. They copied from the Torah. The Christian Bible.
They are all Abrahamic religion. They are the same. They are the same. They are the same.
I've told them, try and separate Hebrews from Jews. And when you talk about Hebrews, Judaism was never even the spiritual pattern of the Hebrews. Judaism came from Abraham. Even Abraham himself, who owns that Judaism according to their Bible and their Torah. Abraham is their father, is the person that instituted Judaism. It's not even an Israeli.
My brother, the truth of the matter is this, where the whole Hebrew thing started was there were some people that visited from somewhere around between the borders of Asia and Europe that visited Egypt. When they came, they were not Hebrews. It was when they were leaving, they all of a sudden became Hebrews. Now,
no, not Hebrews, the Jews. You should say Jews, because Hebrew is a tribe. Jews
wait, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm trying to tell you what they were tagged, and there is a reason why it was tagged so. Now, that was the first time the word Hebrew came up, because one is that is the nature of the life they lived, and the issue is that the whole thing has been mixed up, and for you to understand what actually transpired within that period or within that time, you really have to go back time. You have to go back to time to be able to follow what happened, not by what they say, not by what is written in the scripture. The Bible is the biggest deception so ever that I have ever seen. There is no deception as the Bible. We talk about evolution. That what's this man's name? Isaac Newton. We talk about his evolution that really have been proven to be wrong. But the Bible is more deception than that. More deceptive than that. So the Bible is a bigger deception than any other thing you can even think of. So the Bible itself has really not given us a place to really, have this argument, because people will come to you and they will refer to the same Bible as their evidence. So this is where the problem lies. Are you referring to something that has a date tags on it?
That has no bearing.
It doesn't make any sense. So
on people that have been before that Bible even came into existence.
That is the problem. Now many people have proven, many professors, many teachers, they have shown, they have proven, they have put the Bible side by side with the Egyptian Book of Dead. They have proven to people, they are proving to people that this thing is just copied. What they did here was to change names. So how do you want them to explain to you again that this thing they're all stories? These things are things created, manufactured to really keep you where you are, and you are doing a good job at that. You understand? So how do you want people to explain it to you? Are they going to break your head and put the information?
Darwin's theory. Our brother really said Darwin's theory of evolution. Newton is gravity. Let me tell our people something. Let me tell you something now. These people are people who don't argue objectively. They argue subjectively. Their minds are already made up. And as soon as their minds were made up, they are closed. They are already closed-minded. By being closed-minded, is now trying to change them is like trying to carve something out of a dry cement. You will end up breaking it. But if you see these ones that argue objectively, they are just like fresh cement. You can write whatever you write there because it's not dry already. Now, how do we break into their brain? How do we pick their brains from outside? What we need to do is this. Counter them everywhere we see them. Don't let them deceive more people. When we can't save them, we can't help them, we can save and help the future generations. That's why every time they make all these their interviews and all these things, I come online to do it. I'm not attacking anybody. I just don't want people selling our people more lies.
Of course.
Okay, now to believe in the Bible, you have to first of all believe that the world is 6,000 years old.
Of course.
Which is lie. Now, Judaism, where did we see evidence of Judaism in the world? It's in the Bible, in the Torah, and the Quran.
Of course.
So, as an ancient man, you are not going to, I think may be applicable to these European Jews. It may be applicable to the Christians or the Muslim Arabs, but don't bring it to me.
No.
I was never a religious person. Religion was introduced into my place. Now, you will have to go back to our very existence. Our existence is the only one that is not on any book. Our origin is the only one that is not in a book. That is because we predate their books.
Of course.
And the few people who know this secret are not sharing it.
And that is why they can never tell you beyond 7,000 years.
Yes.
They cannot, because if they do, it will expose them.
No, is older than 7,000 years old. I keep asking them, why do we have a nuclear reactor, a nuclear plant in Gabon that dates back to 1.5 billion years old? Who built that? Who were using it? There is another one there in Gabon too, 4 billion years. Guess who are guiding it? French troops, French soldiers. Most people don't know this thing. It's the type of news, the type of information you don't see in the news.
They won't tell you now.
Why do we?
They will not tell you.
Keep seeing human forces in Africa that are millions of years old. In fact, they said we started using metal tools. Well, okay, there is evidence that they have been doing infantry works in Congo 10,000 years ago. Archaeology is their worst enemy. That's why you see them everywhere in Africa digging. They are telling you that they love artifacts. Have you asked yourself why somebody would buy an ancient artwork for $50 million? Just a bit.
They want to see, my brother, they want to decode certain things. You see,
yes.
Let me tell you something. I was discussing with a very strong traditionalist that he came from Nigeria, and he's an old man. So I was discussing with him the recent events and then happenings. You know what the man told me? He said the father of computer is Philip, whom we all know. But the man said before Philip could come with that concept, that Philip visited Udi in Anambra, and there was something he was able to decode in that Udi. In Enugu State, sorry. And there was something he was able to decode in that Udi he visited. And it was with the help of that thing he was able to decode. And this thing has been there thousands of years that helped him to he was able to solve the mathematics that allowed him to build the internet, this thing that he built. Now, what the man was trying to tell me is that everything we need. Yeah, Philip Emagwali, yeah. Yeah. He said what the man was trying to say is that everything that we need is in these things, and that is why these people are buying these artifacts. Okay. They know that there are secrets buried in them.
I'm talking about textbooks. I'm talking about your textbook. I'm not going into artifacts. Go to those things they call Ishimo or Aros. Go to that place. You see those cabins. Each and every one of them is an information.
Because they have inscriptions.
We don't understand. Just like most people in primitive area in Amazon rainforest can't read English.
Yeah.
That's how we can't read this English, because they're reading that information. We don't even speak our own language. This Igbo we are speaking is not our original language. Even when we are writing, the Igbo is not the original way it's being written.
Exactly.
Now, these people, they have these codes. They already have information that so information is in so place. That's why you see them travel down. You see they give all these places, they call this place Nigeria, Cameroon, Ghana. They know the ancient name those places here.
Exactly.
That's why those papers, you see them, the old maps, they are buying, they are hiding from you. When they see something like they know that this is Africa.
Yeah, Mazi. Okay, keep talking. I'm talking.
Meanwhile, a few hundreds of years ago, Europeans still believe that the earth is flat. So these people still have those ancient African maps, and they have information is located.
Let me shock you. We discovered, we used to have a lot of meetings with some of our old intellectuals, people that are deep in it, because they know that their time is up and they're trying to pass information to us so that we can be able to continue from where they stop. Now, let me tell you the truth. You see, ECBD, the normal Igbo writing, the whole information that we need is in our ability to really decode that. And that was why they took it away from our study. So now what we are doing now is that we are devoting our time and our energy to study it fully. Because once you know it, you'll be able to read Chinese. You'll be able to understand Indian language. You'll be able to understand all this Asian language. Because it is from ECBD that they were all given back to.
This math, they give in some places in Africa. People don't know what it means.
Yeah.
There are people that have one like it.
Yeah.
There are some that have two.
Yeah.
Yeah, some are three.
I have one here.
Some people they have three here, they have four here. Most people don't know the meaning of those. Some people, when they mark one, your element may be water or earth. If it's two, it may be air. If it's three, just like this, you understand it. Four elements. Those are what sometimes you still in the air, four here. These are people of higher knowledge. They came from that. The person is just a reincarnation of a former great what we call Musa, which is nothing other than someone that has a high intelligence. In modern day, you can call them geniuses. Our people don't know that those things are representing something. marking symbols, all those things. Until we can decode that, we will never ever know the true source of our origin. Where are you going to start? We are everywhere. We are everywhere in the world. In China, in the Americas. Point every continent that is habited by man. Okay, are you telling me that all these Aboriginal Australians we are shipped in from another planet? Just people get to understand this. If our history, if these people had our history, they will have it from everyone. And if their history is so true and what they are telling you is so nice, is the real information you need, my brother, you wouldn't be owning television. You won't see those programs on TV. The ones that will educate you are not on TV.
No, they why should they? Now let me tell you something. Why should somebody tell you the secret of dethroning him?
No, they won't.
But nobody will do it. Nobody will do it. So it is you. It is you yourself that will discover the way to find your feet. The way to stand on your feet. You are the one that will tell yourself how to stand as a man. So the issue is that our people need to reason beyond the normal way of thinking. They have to step out of the box. The time is now. The time is now for them to step out of the box. There is need, is the needful. We need to step out of the box. Forget about the way we think before. Forget about the issues that has always occupied our mind before. Let us have normal way of reasoning. Let us reason deep into certain things. Let us consider certain situations and look at where we are. Because we have sold ourselves cheap. This is a problem. We have sold ourselves cheap and we are still selling ourselves because somebody wants it easy. Nothing good comes easy. You have to learn to bear pain. You have to learn to bear sorrow. Look, the time we are in is a very sensitive season. We are about to be liberated. So many offers are coming to distract us because the main thing will come, but it will come at the last time. It will come at the last hour. But now we are having so many offers, and if we settle for any of them, mind you, we are entering into another type and another season of slavery.
And it will take us thousands of
That is the point. That is the point because opportunity will pass away because things come according to season. So it is our time now to liberate our own generation. It's our time now to free our people, and we have to do it having divine knowledge.
They should ask themselves this question. During chattel slavery, Arabs were trafficked before Arabs. Before Europeans were sold to slavery. Why is it that the black people are the only slaves that were forbidden from reading and writing?
Because in the true knowledge, that was why when I look at a person that says he's Catholic, I see him as I know that every religion has a problem, but I see that person as the biggest fool. Now, most of them who are Catholics, especially those who are of our own people, have never asked why those things that they collected from Alexandria Library and the university, why they are in Vatican, why Vatican is not releasing those documents. So they've not asked questions, but they are still following the same people that have denied you access to your own history, to the story of your own life.
If somebody can give you a book that will show you how to live eternal life, why wouldn't he show you an ordinary book that is not going to lead you eternal life, which is locked up in a safe?
Which is your own, not their own. Something they collected from you.
Let's assume it's their own. You have given me the secret. Bible is the secret to eternal life. You get it. Why would you hide any other information from me when you've given me the secret to eternal life? Does that make sense?
No. It doesn't.
It means that what you told me you gave me is not what you gave me. Let them ask themselves. There is a reason black people were the only people forbidden from reading and writing because the teachers were still alive. Then their students were still alive. And because they were forbidden from reading and writing, you can't teach people. That's why you see some of these guys, they were only teaching their children. And with the separation of families, most of them started losing this knowledge. Only a few of them who still had them were the old inventors. Sorry, I got a call. Have you asked yourself why we had more black inventors? Those days, black people, just after 20, 30 years after black people were allowed to read and write. They were not allowed to read. We had more black inventors then that now we are being given education, sometimes scholarship for free education.
My dear, stop calling that in education. It's not education. It gives you the ultimate privilege of speaking and writing and understanding English language and French language, and that is where it ends. Because
they are only giving you knowledge, not wisdom.
Which knowledge? It's their language knowledge. It's not knowledge. Because if it's knowledge, if it's knowledge, I don't think it's knowledge. It's not knowledge. It's your ability. It's an advantage of knowing their language. Let me explain to you what I mean. We have over 1 million engineers, graduated engineers in Africa. None of them knows how to define the difference between a nut and a screwdriver. They don't know it. They've not seen it before. So what knowledge are you talking about? They only know he can take a biro. Listen, he can take a biro and write an application to be employed. He knows how to write in English language or in French language, but he does not know the rhythm of the course he claims he studied.
That is why.
So it's not knowledge.
Because knowledge is acquired, but wisdom is developed. What knowledge is this? Like now, I have the knowledge of Turkish language because I've been exposed to Turkish language, and now I know it. Knowledge comes from knowing. You only know what you are taught. That is what knowledge is. But intelligence is what you develop from inside. It goes with wisdom. So just understand what I mean.
Oh, no, I understand you, but I still want to I want to express the point.
Yeah. Now ask yourself this. Why would someone hide this one from you and give you this? If he truly wants you to, it's like what would I use? It's like I'm telling you now that, brother, I will give you a car that you will drive and you will never have to fuel it. You can take it to mechanic. But it's when you die, I will give you that. But right now you are alive. I have 15 cars I'm driving. I'm not going to give you the cheapest among them to drive here. Does that make sense?
No, at all.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as what they are selling to our people. And because they've managed to make us look down on ourselves, that's why we are looking for acceptance. Some say they are Arabs, they are Muslims. Some say they are Christians. Some say they are Jews.
Yeah.
How can you be a Jew and be an African and a conscious soul at the same time? It doesn't make sense. Judaism is a religion, and every religion is man-made. Every religion has a beginning. Spirituality starts with you when you were born. It's inside you.
Yeah, but let me fine tune something there. It doesn't start when you were born. It starts before conception, because you are already existing before the flesh was conceived. Yeah.
Your own part of spirituality started the day you manifested here. That is when your path starts. In fact, it starts from the day you were conceived. You are just a manifestation of that which has been.
That is the word. That which has been. It's not like it's coming. It has been. And that is why it has come to manifest physically, because it has already been.
Yes, but most of our people don't get this. When you are telling them, it's easier to tell a black man that were made by white people than to tell him. It's easier for him to believe that than for him to believe that he is a Bruce.
That is self-hate.
A spirit, than for him to believe that he is a God. It is true, it's like seeing a child, maybe a child that was lost.
And what you are saying now, it brings me to the place whereby it is very important for us to now begin to learn our language. Now, let me tell you something about African language. Your language explains it better. Your language explains it better. Your language makes you to understand. Before I became conscious, I used to think that when you say chi, I used to think that they are talking about God. Now, and I realize because many people don't know what Igbo language is. They can't define it because we are seeing it from the surface. Now, I thought that chi means God, but it was deeper understanding that made me understand that chi in Igbo language means spirit. It doesn't mean any God. More. So now there are certain things. Now there are certain things that we need to understand in our own language before we begin to associate with those things. If not, we will have wrong conception about it, and it will not lead us forward. You understand what I'm saying? So the problem with our people is ignorance, and we need to really kill this ignorance by educating them in certain areas of life, especially when it comes to spiritual areas. Now, somebody does not know. Do you know that any man? Now, let me say something now. It's going to be strong. Because many people have done it in the past. Any man, it does not matter. That is why the Igbos don't have a king. Any man that prostrates himself or that bows before another man have automatically killed his own destiny spiritually.
No, you have automatically reduced yourself from your
redemption self is an understatement. He has killed his destiny. I'm telling you, from the spiritual perspective, I'm telling you what happens to the spirit. Whether you like it, you can contest it if you like. That man has damaged his destiny by that single act alone. By that just single act alone. And many of our people do it, especially when they need something from somebody. They see themselves bowing to that person to collect that thing, thinking that they have acted wisely, but it is detriment to their future. That is why many people that they sell in life are those that we tag stubborn ones, because they never bowed to any. They never submitted to any. Their spirit is still intact. That is why it is them that usually successful. Even the person you are bowing to will still like them, because they have strong spirit. They are the people that have proven themselves worthy. And this is something that an Igbo man or an African is not supposed to do, my brother. We do it daily. We do it daily.
Have they asked themselves the origin of kingship? These people that instituted religion, instituted monarchy too, because you have to lie to people that you are specially selected to be this or that, to control this or control that. And watch each and every one of them. They would lie to you that they have a divine right. They have a divine right to rule over you. And when you agree to that, it's where you can prostrate before them.
But let me ask a question. How can it be that somebody has a divine right to rule you when you came with your own destiny? He came with his own destiny. Then how come he has a divine right to rule over you? Because that's it. Which means that everyone is positioned. You see, that is what it is.
People don't know. When we are talking about a viceroy mimicking the monarch, every king is not a traditional ruler, because there is a law that governs everyone. That someone is an Ezra does not make him a traditional ruler.
He's not even any ruler.
And our people, you don't even check the meaning of them. You see that this king, you go to some villages now. What is the problem? They said that the former king was an Anglican. Now they need a Catholic king. Please, the name says traditional ruler. How can it be traditional and religious at the same time? And how do we have all these so-called traditional rulers who go to churches, they will coronate someone, the next day he is kneeling down before a mere man dressed in cassock. I call it pedophile.
My brother, let me tell you let me tell you the plain truth. The plain truth about the so-called traditional rulers is that they are alleviated slaves. Now look at what the Bible says. It says when a slave, slaves, yeah. He said when a slave is about to be freed and he is frustrated, he doesn't know how to pick up himself. He goes back to the master and says, "Don't free me, let me work for you." Then the master gives him a ring. That ring is that lifting up. Then they put them in a position. Exactly. Then they put them in a position. They put them in a position where people will not say, so because he bowed to the master have lifted him up. So let me go and bow to the master again. They now become a model, and this is what you see, especially those of them you see in the entertainment industry. Those of them you see in politics. They lift them up. We see them as role models, but these are slaves who have been given ring. That lifting up is the ring. They've given them the ring, so they think they are doing well. But at the real sense of it, they are the ones being used as joker against our freedom, our desire for freedom. They are the ones used as joker against us. So this is the problem we are facing, especially in the black community. So we see these people, we call them icons. They are being regarded as models, and we respect them because they train them for that distraction.
All those things you are saying boils down to knowing yourself. When you know yourself, you know where you come from. It's not everything they will do before you. Imagine, I will go to my village now. I will buy a red hat. I wear it and dress it. Sorry. I will take a red hat and dress it traditional attire. And the chief, a so-called chief, who doesn't know how to mark chalk, just for the fact that his fellow man made him a chief, he will now be telling me how I'm violating the laws of the land. My brother, please, I will be you now. There is an important I will need to.
Okay. You've done well. Thanks for your contribution. Yeah. So you've seen the way and the place we are, my brothers. I think we are in a place where honestly one does not have words to define it or to really explain it. We are at a very bad situation, and that is why everything is going wrong. So we keep asking ourselves question: how do we come out of what we're in? Because the battle is not just a physical battle. We are talking about spiritual battle. You've seen what our brother have been saying all this while. I mean, it's very painful that people who are supposed to know do not know, and they have no desire to know. So we leave ourselves with this question: how are we going to come out of what we are in? You know, it is very wrong if we as a people should think for once that our problem is only a physical problem, it's only political problem, or it's only financial problem. My brother, welcome. Welcome.
I greet everyone here.
Okay, thank you.
I hope I'm coming out clear.
Yeah, you're coming out clear. Yeah.
And another thing I want to ask, if I can be, I hope I will be permitted.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. So because so ana m ege ntị ife niile nna anyị ukwu na-ekwu mana aghọtakwa n'ife niile a na-ekwu. So mana ihe a niile ha na-ekwu ebe a wụ the reality. So o nwere ndị agaghị aghọta ya. So mana they can see again about the spirituality. So no not get the faith. So now and we're really faith you can go along the by that. So I'm not telling because of that from my day my own example with my own reality of Roy Haglag.
Yeah.
So now and when the ban no and the hand to the cover now when you're going why yeah this the man of each beside that. So now I will so and every day I bond in a more now drag. So I get my to where every day now I will look them go by and I compare. Them and do cabana copella every morning, but I have not the meaning.
Yeah.
So my call had the meaning.
Bam.
So now when I bell and I that's that thing book him and Anyanwu bonde amuru na village. Anyanwu ho club. Obu Igbo na ase kunie n'ọkụkọ akwala. So ihe a wee code. Also kunie n'ọkụkọ akwala bịa ka ejiwe by date. So and even na Igbo anyị nwere ọkụkọ na-akwa 4 o'clock. Anyị nwere nke 5. Anyị nwezi nke 6 wee rute the 7 which is the last one.
Yeah.
So and even when obodo Igbo now, bell ahụ na anọba ụka, bell na da anọ n'obodo. All the representative of that
okay.
Maka na church n'iru be m. Ịbịa n'enye n'anya, ya afụ na ha ji kpọọ dị ọkụkọ n'enye. That is the symbol. Obodo Igbo nwe ọkụkọ. Sisi n'obodo Igbo ọkụkọ kwala n'akụkụ.
Mba.
The answer is no. So no na buy ọkụkọ na akwa. Ihe a wee ba anyị ka akọ. Ya de wee ba simple. Maka ya na agwa ndị ba ya wee ịmata ihe a na spirituality bụ wee mara onwe.
Exactly.
Good way of things. So ọ dị ka mgbe yesterday mụ na one man onye ọcha foto onye ọcha old man na-agba nkata. E nwere many things nna achị. Otu ọzọ nke ka si amata so those things niile. Sị na nwere ọ na-abụ na cancer what has onye m ihe nchọ. So ọ nọzie n'iru m gbawazie onwe na ọ dị ka anyị nwa dị more closer to nature. Ifere ihe ọ na-adịzi ọkpụ. So mana anyị na-akụwalụ ndị be anyị those things a ga-aghọta gị azụ onye bụ abụọ. Ọsị m ọbịa jụọ ọsị m ọ ka ndị be anyị siri dị so daft by ịjụwa mmadụ azụ iche wee na ekwesịrị mmadụ gba ngwọrọ mgbe mmadụ na-akụziri zụrụ ha ihe. So say na ọkwa ka ba anyị si dị na ụka eriga anyị. So because ihe niile dị mmadụ nọcha mụ na ya nọcha ụnyaahụ ọ sị na ọbịbịa ọ bịara ebe a na ihe ọ mụtara ebe a na ọ mụtara a lot of things ọ mabeghị n'ụwa ya ọkwa onye okenye. So ya wee bụrụ maka na ihe eji akọwa ihe ahụ maka ndị be anyị amara ihe a na-akpọ spirituality. Spirituality is something in you. So o nwega ajụjụ njụ ụfa mgbe ụfọdụ ana m achị ebi anụ ka na-ajụ mgbe ahụ ha na-etukwu na-eche echiche nne ha maọbụ onye ọbụla nọ ha n'akụkụ ha ọ na-anụ ife a ha na-eche. The answer is no. Nkata ahụ ị na-akpa wit echiche onwe onye nọ gị n'akụkụ na-anụ ya. The answer is no. That is the chi. Ọ bụrụ na ime ya understand ịfụ na ọ ga na-ewetere gị nkata adị ọ ga na-akpa nkata 2 hours before ihe ọbụla echi.
Exactly.
So and now ndị be anyị ọtara ha na-akpọ chichi. Anyị kwesịrị ka a na-akụziri ya akụzi because ebe ha na mmụọ you will understand what it is.
Bam.
Ọgwụ a na-asị mmadụ chi ekwuola.
Nwanne.
Ọgwụ a na-asị mmadụ chi abụọ.
Otu a.
So ị hapụziri chi a na-eji agwọ God because ọ ebe a ka mụ na demand na n'okwu ya. Anyị kwugide oge wee anyị na-ekwu wee sị ya na God na ọnụ a nwee God onye m anya. Nsị a na God na mụ amanye nghọta ife God mmiri.
Bam.
Ọnụ a nwee God.
Bam.
Mụ akpọrọ ya God.
Bam.
So wee sị m kede wee sị ya because aghọta m ife God mmiri na God bụ na n'onu be anyị bụ chi ọ pụtara. And na chi pụtara ụbọchị. Na the man go onye ọcha ndị ọ dị connected to lawyer ndị obodo a. Mụ na ya tupu onye a na-abịa n'aka. So na-asị ya na chi bụ God ahụ na-akpọ oyibo, and now ka nkọwarịa ihe God pụtara ha nwa bụ ndị kretiri enye anyị. Sị na God pụtara gold, ịbịa na gold ị ga-enweta God. Ịbịa na good, ihe ọbụla dị mma, ọ good, which is mgbe ọbụla ị bakwa na chọọchị anyị bụ n'ime isi na ị na-ebi ndụ dị mma, which is good. Then ịbịakwa na this gold, kedu ife bụ gold a bụ anything resources, mineral resources, ihe ọbụla bụ osisi nọ n'ime ihe ọbụla na-enye gị ndụ, which is ịchịkọta ha ncha niile ifu nwa ụbọchị bụ ya bụ chi. So the element of ụbọchị bụ ya nọgị n'ime na-arụ ọrụ. So the man wee sị na so na ncha niile na-ebụ part of religion. Say of course. Ọsị nke ị ga-esi enweta sọ ọdụ si sometimes nwere ugwu anyị na-agba obere. So mbịazie ebe a mbịa chịkọta data ugwu baa na mmụọ, ịpụtazie a lot of information.
Exactly.
So nsị and at times na them connected, much connected, I like something of nature. So na mgbe ọ connected to nature, then nature will be cheating or from school. Because no one na anyị na-amụ nature teaches. So that's the man ochie. Anyị ndị be anyị niile na-ebe a bụ ochie anyị nwetụrụ ọgụ mana anyị ma ndị na-abịa ndị ka isi amị maka na inwere anọda mmụọ so ekwe ka isi amị ya mgbe ahụ eji obere ọkwa ha na-abịa pụta mkpụrụ n'elu ha na-afụ onyinye which is another spirit in the eye. Onyinye ahụ na-afụ which is shadow.
We will continue the conversation.
So that onyinye ahụ mana onyinye ahụ ọ bụ na onyinye ahụ anaghị